Hello, welcome to my channel and thanks for tuning into this video. Today I'm doing a review and try on of one of the new Hermes limited edition lipsticks, and this is in the shade Beige Ebloui. So if you'd like to see me try this out and share my thoughts on it, as well as do a number of comparisons with other similar shades of lipsticks that I already have in my collection, just keep on watching. Okay, I want to start by just putting the lipstick on. So this is Beige Ebloui, and I looked up what Ebloui means, and it seems to mean dazzling or dazzled, something like that. So dazzling beige is what I'm gonna think of it as. And let's just put it right on the lips and we'll see how it looks, and then we'll get into some comparisons. All right, so here it is on the lips. Normally I would probably use a lip liner with it, but I just wanted to show the true color for this video. And I don't think it needs a liner at all. It's just that's sort of what my habit is to use a liner. I think the Victoria Beckham 02 or 01 or even the 03 would probably work fine with this. So I would consider this sort of a mid-toned nude. It does have certainly some pink in it, but it's also a little bit warm, so it has a little bit of peachiness in it too. I think it's a very wearable color, at least for my skin tone, and I think it's just a really nice kind of everyday color that can go with a lot of different looks. The brand describes it as the amber caress of warm sand. So I think that also sort of supports that notion of it being a little bit of a warm, sandy, nudie color. I want to get into some comparisons. So I'm going to start with the Hermes right there. And I have a few Charlotte Tilburys, I have a couple of Lisa Eldridge, I have a Chanel, and I have a Chantecaille to compare it with. So starting out with Pillow Talk from Charlotte Tilbury. Now Pillow Talk is a matte, whereas the Hermes is a satin, and I can see that the Pillow Talk is a little bit cooler looking and more mauve compared to the Hermes. Next up from Charlotte Tilbury, we have Super Cindy, which is also a matte, but actually is more similar to the Hermes. So you can see it's a little bit warmer than Pillow Talk, which also brings it a bit closer to the Hermes, although I think the Hermes is a little bit, I don't know, there's just something different about it. Maybe it's slightly less vibrant or something, or less pigmented, which I suppose would make sense since it's a satin as compared to the matte, which might show up with a little bit of a stronger pigment, but I think those two colors are actually quite similar. Then we have the last Charlotte Tilbury that I wanted to look at, which is Hepburn Honey. And actually, I don't think this is similar really at all. No, it's much more brown. And Hepburn Honey is actually rather difficult for me to wear. I have to mix it with other things, and I have found ways that I like to wear Hepburn Honey, but it's not just a throw-on lip color like this Hermes one I think can be. Next, let's go into the two Lisa Eldridge colors that I pulled. So I have Velvet Fawn here, and I'll put that right beside. There's the Velvet Fawn, and Velvet Fawn is looking a lot cooler and also browner than the Hermes, quite different. And then the other Lisa one that I have is Velvet Affair here, which I think might be more similar. Yeah, I think that's Velvet Affair. It is possibly more similar to the Hermes, but still very different, I think. The colors are just really not the same. Velvet Affair definitely more brown, has more depth to it as well. And of course, those Lisa Eldridge colors are mattes too, so that makes a difference. The Chanel one that I wanted to pull out is called Emotive, and I think it's a matte too. Yeah, it's a Rouge Allure Velvet, and it's that color there. I'm gonna put this above the Hermes. Okay, those look quite similar to me. So that's the Chanel Emotive. And I think that looks pretty similar actually to the Hermes. The finish is different, and I would say that's really the main difference, because the Chanel is velvet, so it's more matte, whereas the Hermes is a satin, but they look quite similar. The Hermes might have a little bit more pink, which for me makes it a little bit more wearable, I think, but they're very, very similar colors. And the last one that I wanted to take a look at was Chantecaille in the shade Tamboti. And so I'm gonna just put that right there. So there's the Tamboti shade. That's a lip veil. And it's somewhat similar, but I think again a lot more brown than the Hermes. And I know that it can be hard to tell in swatches and on camera and so on, but I hope that at least my talking through the differences might help to parse out the differences among all these different colors. So again, I'm just going to go through and name them off. So this one is Chanel Emotive. This is the Hermes Beige Ebloui. This is Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk, Charlotte Tilbury Super Cindy, Charlotte Tilbury Hepburn Honey. This one here is the Chantecaille Tamboti. That's Lisa Eldridge Velvet Fawn, and that's Lisa Eldridge Velvet Affair. So I hope that was helpful for you if you have any of those other shades and were kind of wondering how they might compare to this new Hermes lipstick. In terms of my review of it, I think it's a really nice lipstick. It does have a scent, and it's not all that subtle. It's sort of just a perfumey scent. I had heard other people talk about this before I ever had an Hermes lipstick, and it was one of the things that sort of kept me from trying one. But I don't find that the scent is too strong, but it's definitely there, and it is perfumey. And it does linger for a while. This wears to me just like any other satin lipstick. It's not very long wearing, but it doesn't rub off too quickly either. And of course it depends what you're doing. If you're eating or drinking, it's gonna come off a lot faster. If you're talking a lot, it's gonna come off a lot faster. But it feels very nice and nourishing and moisturizing on the lips. And I would say, comparing it to other satin type formulas, I think my favorite satin formula is the Charlotte Tilbury Kissing line. And those I like because I find that they're a little bit thicker. And this is not quite as thick as that one, but it's certainly more thick than something like the Chantecaille lip veils, which are very thin in their texture. So I'd say it's sort of just a mid-range satin formula in terms of the texture of it. I like the color a lot. As I said, I think it's very wearable and easy. They have two other shades in this release that they've just brought out. One is a very bright magenta, and the other is a very bright coral vermilion type shade. So I thought that of the three, this would be the one that I would certainly get the most use out of. The coral one had my favorite packaging. It had like a bright turquoise strip on the packaging, which I really loved, but I couldn't justify it just for that. So I'm happy with my choice here, and this has very pretty packaging as well. And I think it's a good representation of the Hermes brand with the orange, and the overall look is kind of 70s, which is a vibe that I often get from Hermes. These cases are refillable. You can just pop out the lipstick shade. It's a little bit hard to pull it out the first time, but just pops out like that. So if you really love the case, you could put another Hermes lipstick in here, and you can buy the refills separately, but you can't get these limited edition shades in the refills. So there's one that I have my eye on. It's called Beige Tadillac, and I really am interested in that color. So I think at some point I might just buy the refill of that, and I can pop it into either this case, or I have one other Hermes lipstick, the orange matte one, but it's just in the normal packaging. So I might just buy a refill of that color that I'm really interested in, so that I can just pop it into one of my other cases. I think that's really all I wanted to say about this lipstick for today's video. If you want to know all the other makeup that I'm wearing, it's all going to be listed down in the description box, so you can check that out. If you have any comments or any questions, I would love to see those below. If you would like to see more from me and you haven't subscribed already, I would love for you to do so. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.